40 Days of Miraculous Revelation. Unveiling the divine illusion of our sacred existence. In the beloved village of St. Alden something extraordinary was about to unfold. Mary, a devoted Christian clad in unwavering faith, found herself standing at the crossroads of divine hope and despair. Just weeks ago, her life was a symphony of prayer meetings, gentle laughter, and the comforting murmur of Scripture. Now, it felt like the very foundation of her soul trembled with anguish. Her husband, John, the kind-hearted teacher beloved by all, lay frail and sick, a shadow of the man who once filled their home with warmth and joy. As tears pooled in her palms, Mary gasped for clarity amongst the chaos. Desperate, she spent nights calling on Jesus, but it was in the depths of her despair that St. Jude appeared in a dream, his presence radiant and compelling. "Gather your people," he urged, "for miracles are birthed in the fires of faith." As she awoke, a cool breeze fluttered through her window, whispering encouragement that ignited a flame in her heart. It was then Mary understood. They had 40 days to unveil the miraculous as dawn broke. Casting golden hues across the church as stained glass, Mary took her place as a beacon of hope. Day after day, she organized gatherings, inviting the entire village into the sanctuary. With every prayer, sounds swelled like waves crashing against a solid shore, voices rising, songs spilling from their hearts filling the church with fervor. Each evening featured testimonies of once hopeless situations turned miraculous, shared amidst tears and laughter as hearts opened in trust. Yet, amidst this hope glimmered shadows of doubt as whispers emerged questioning the very essence of miracles in modern times. Could prayers truly heal? Then came a pivotal Sunday night, a point of no return. In the dimmed light, Mary cast a glance toward John, whose frail frame sat among the congregation. The air grew thick with urgency as a hush fell like stillness before a storm. Mary's breath hitched in her throat as she felt the weight of prayer on her shoulders. Just then, John stood. Gasps of awe echoed throughout the room. An ethereal glow enveloped him, illuminating his face with a warmth she thought she'd never see again. The crowd erupted, hearts filled with joy. Mary's soul soared, but a creeping uncertainty slithered into her heart. Had she stirred an illusion with her every plea? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. Mary's voice resonated amidst the awe. YouTube has been changing things, and many of you may not be seeing the notifications from the channels you follow. If you're enjoying this journey together, make sure to click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Honestly, your support with a like, it makes a difference, and I want to hear where you're watching from. It warms my heart. Now, let us keep gathering our spirits. As the echoes of her words faded, the question lingered like an ancient hymn. Was this miracle a glimpse of divine grace, or a figment of their fraying faith? Mary's heart swelled with gratitude, yet turmoil brewed beneath the surface. The village surged forward, buoyed by excitement, but the skepticism simmered, threatening to disrupt the unity forged in prayer. What doors were they truly opening, and could they confront the shadows of doubt burgeoning among them? In the aftermath of John's healing, one thing became clear: the journey had only just begun. Would the power of faith and miracles blend seamlessly with skepticism, or would it fracture their beloved community? As these uncharted waters unfolded, Mary was left wondering, with an unyielding quest for truth. What divine purpose awaited them on this path of miraculous revelation? The days following John's miraculous healing were both bright and heavy for Mary. Each morning, the sun rose more brilliantly than the last, shining not just on St. Alden's but on her very soul. Yet, beneath that warmth lingered a chill of uncertainty. The villagers marveled at John, flocking to him with admiration and questions, eager to witness the miracle. They spoke of faith, of hope, of the divine, and yet Mary felt a swell of internal conflict. During the next gathering, Mary invited everyone to join with open hearts. She hoped to keep the flame alive, but as she stood before the congregation, she sensed a palpable tension in the air. She noticed whispers, some laced with skepticism, flitted through the pews. Had they indeed witnessed a miracle, or merely a trick of the mind, a heart rallying in the face of despair? Mary began to share her own doubts, to voice the thoughts that had haunted her since John stood aglow. Is it possible, friends, that we are caught in the web of our desires? Can faith be strong enough to hold the weight of our yearnings? It was a vulnerable moment, a rip in the fabric of their shared belief. Yet, it was met not with judgment, but with contemplative silence, as faces softened with understanding that evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of purple and gold. Mary gathered a small group of villagers in her home. They sat in a circle, illuminated by flickering candlelight, sharing their own experiences with faith and miracles. Each voice echoed the same struggle, wondering if God truly moved in their lives, or if it was all mere coincidence, the delightful whims of fate. Among them was Ruth, a woman with eyes that had seen hardship yet sparkled with resilience. We cannot allow doubt to choke the life from our faith, she urged. Her voice carried the weight of experience, like an anchor in stormy seas. Miracles are not just grand events, they are the daily acts of love and kindness that surround us, small signs of God's presence in our lives. Mary felt a stirring in her heart. Perhaps it was everything they felt that was the real miracle. It was not just John's healing, but the community blossoming with renewed faith, the shared vulnerability that knit them closer together. As these thoughts took root, something unexpected happened. John, who had remained quiet, finally spoke. He shared the exact moment he felt lifted from darkness, a feeling like a warm embrace that chased away the chill of despair. I think, he said slowly, his voice steady now, that the miracle is the connection we share. Your prayers, your love, you all came together for me. That is where the divine resides, within our unity. The gathering erupted in applause, and with tears glimmering, Mary felt the walls around her heart begin to crack open. They may not have all the answers, but the question of faith anchored them. She realized this journey needed to embrace the feelings of doubt, uncertainty, and fear alike. Amidst it all, their commitment grew stronger as the fire burned low and the circle began to disperse. Mary knew they were embarking on a path unlike any other. The next gathering beckoned with the promise of higher revelations. Would they dare to explore the depths of their faith even further, embracing not just joy and miracles, but also the shadows lurking within and around them? A whisper of expectation filled the air. What awaited them in the next gathering could either illuminate their souls or reveal a darker truth. Would they have the courage to confront what was hidden beneath the surface of miraculous faith? The uncertainty loomed like the twilight, thick with possibility. As the days passed, a sense of anticipation grew stronger in St. Alden's. Mary sensed that the next gathering held something special, like an unspoken promise waiting to unfold. When the evening arrived, she felt a charge in the air, thick with curiosity and fear. Villagers arrived, their footsteps purposeful, and the atmosphere hummed with the united heartbeat of souls yearning for deeper understanding. The church, once a quiet sanctuary, transformed into a vibrant space filled with laughter and soft conversations. Candles flickered warmly, casting shadows that danced upon the stone walls, creating a divine ambience that seemed alive with possibility. Mary took a breath and glanced around at the faces, each reflecting flickers of hope and shadows of doubt. Tonight, we seek to unravel the mysteries our hearts hold, she began, her voice steady yet soft. Let us not just gather in faith, but also in honesty. Each of us carries burdens and questions that may feel too heavy to share. Her sincerity draped over the congregation, pulling them closer. Ruth stood again, a firm pillar. I believe that the shadows can illuminate our understanding of faith. What if our doubts are just pathways leading us to deeper truths? She spoke with conviction, her gaze piercing through the veil of uncertainty. Faith without questions can become stagnant, like water left in the sun. A whisper of agreement passed through the crowd. Encouraged, Mary invited others to share their struggles. One by one, they opened their hearts' stories of loss, of weary spirits, and of dreams deferred. Each shared experience wove a tapestry of vulnerability that moved through the church like a sacred wind. Then, a hush fell. It was as if the sacred silence dared them to speak further, to venture deeper. Mary glanced at John, who raised his hand. I used to think miracles were only the grand displays of power, he confessed, his voice trembling with emotion. But I see now that those little miracles, the ones born from our connection, they shape us. They remind us of a love larger than ourselves. His words hung in the air, saturating it with profound truth. Faces brightened as light dawned in their hearts. Mary felt buoyed, as if they were all sailing on a sea of shared discovery. As the conversation flowed, something striking occurred. In the midst of their stories, a gentle breeze whispered through the open windows, rustling the papers on the altar. The flickering candles danced as if responding to a hidden presence, stirring a collective sense of awe among them. This moment felt monumental. Mary felt compelled to lean into this spiritual current. What if we surrender our need for certainty? She asked, voice low and inviting. What if we allowed ourselves to embrace both the light and the dark? A young woman spoke up hesitantly. What if the dark is just as sacred as the light, leading us to find deeper hope? Her question settled like dew on the earth, nourishing the ground of their faith. Laughter blended with tears as they continued exploring this uncharted territory of their faith. Many began murmuring, yes, yes, let us embrace both. Each voice built upon the other, creating a symphony of collective honesty that worshipped the interconnectedness of doubt and belief. Yet, beneath this wave of acceptance, Mary felt the weight of something unspoken. What lay beyond this gathering? What shadows might still linger, waiting to challenge or uplift them? The gentle flicker of candles reminded them of the delicate balance between faith and doubt. The evening drew to a close, leaving an unquenchable thirst for understanding. As they dispersed into the night, a collective question hummed in the air. What revelations are yet to come? What unseen illusions shall we unveil in the journey ahead? Mary held her breath, wondering if they dared venture further into those sacred depths. The path was laid before them, drenched in divine mystery, waiting to be walked. As dawn broke over St. Alden's, hues of gold streamed through the clouds, hinting at a day filled with promise. Mary awoke with a sense of urgency in her heart, an echo of the night's gathering still resonating within her. She felt she had touched the surface of something great, something that yearned to emerge and blossom fully. Drawing on this newfound energy, she dressed quickly and stepped outside, allowing the crisp morning air to awaken her spirit. The village was quiet, but already she could sense the embers of life beginning to flicker. Birds sang, offering melodies that seemed to affirm the whispers of the night before. Each step to the church felt more like a pilgrimage than a simple walk. The path wound along familiar cobblestones, but today, they sparkled as if each stone carried its own revelation, a belief that transformation was at hand. She arrived to find the door slightly ajar, inviting her in. Inside, the sanctuary was serene. Sunlight poured through stained glass, casting vibrant patterns across the wooden pews. Mary made her way to the altar and knelt, the silence enveloping her like a warm embrace. She closed her eyes, seeking clarity. The questions from last night echoed through her mind, urging her to contemplate deeper truths. Just then, the sound of footsteps broke her meditation. It was Ruth, her presence steady as she approached. Mary, she said softly, this feeling, it lingers, doesn't it? Like a flame that refuses to die out. Yes, Mary replied, her voice just above a whisper. I sense we are being called into a greater understanding, a more profound connection. But I wonder what lies ahead? Ruth pondered a moment. Perhaps it starts with a challenge. An invitation to journey inward, facing what we often avoid. It is in the act of opening ourselves that divine truths can emerge. Mary absorbed those words, feeling a spark of excitement. Could we possibly guide others to too? If we explore until the heart grows, maybe together we could unveil that which feels hidden. Let us gather the villagers again, Ruth suggested, her eyes shining with purpose. Let us harness this momentum. We could explore topics like forgiveness, love, and hope. Let us invite everyone to share their own revelations. Mary smiled at Ruth's passionate spirit, a tapestry of voices woven together in understanding and growth. And so, as they began planning, an undercurrent of eagerness swelled. The seed of transformation was planted, poised to blossom into something magnificent. They envisioned breaking the barriers of isolation, creating a collective heart that pulsed in unison. That evening, under the same flickering candles, the villagers returned. As they gathered, electric energy coursed through the air. Laughter soon mingled with soft prayers, creating an atmosphere filled with hope and joy. Mary initiated a circle, inviting each person to share their dreams, goals, and hidden fears. As voices rose and fell, a sense of unity created a sacred bond. Mary saw hearts opening like blooms after rain, petals stretching towards the divine light, each story, a note in a beautiful symphony of humanity. Suddenly, a child spoke up. What if we believe in miracles happening right here, right now? What if that's why we're all together? Her innocence cut through the weightiness of the room, igniting the space with an enticing possibility. The murmurs grew louder, and Mary felt the atmosphere change. An unseen force stirred among them. It was as if their voices were weaving a prayer that reached beyond their gathering, meeting God in the sacred space they had created. Miracles do happen, Ruth said, eyes glistening. They may be small, but they embody the divine movement within our lives. With tears in her eyes, Mary realized that this was just the beginning. Each gathered soul was not just a participant but a vessel ready to channel divine stories waiting to be told. The mysteries they sought, the revelations they longed for, each one hinted at the vastness of God's plan unfurling before them. Yet, amid the joy, a cautionary thought flickered in Mary's mind. What trials would arise as they delved deeper into their own shadows? Would they be ready to confront not only the light but the darkness that lingered within them? With these challenges drawing closer, Mary felt a stirring. Something significant was on the horizon of their journey, a moment when divine truths would ignite their faith. As the evening closed, prayers lifted like incense, intertwining wishes, hopes, and dreams. Mary paused, pondering what awaited them next. Would they dare to embrace every shadow, every fear? What divine mysteries would unfold in the days ahead? What truths were waiting to break through and deeply transform their lives? With the moon hanging low, the night whispered secrets that promised the dawn of transformation. Mary awoke again with a gentle pull on her heart, the feeling palpable. She sensed that the gathering from the previous night had ignited a flame not merely within her, but in the hearts of everyone present. That as she went about her morning routine, her mind danced with thoughts of the villagers. What stories would they share today? What truths long buried in their souls might rise to the surface? The anticipation filled her, urging her to step boldly into the unfolding mystery. The village was alive. Chatter spilled from doorways as families prepared for their day. Mary felt a warmth spread through her as she stepped into the sunlight. It felt different today, more vibrant, charged with expectation. Every rustle of leaves and chirp of birds seemed to echo encouragement. She made her way to the church, each step taken with resolute faith. When she entered the sanctuary, the familiar fragrance of worn wood and candle wax embraced her. Setting her gaze upon the altar, she whispered a prayer of gratitude. Today was a day of purpose. Inviting Ruth to join her, they planned to guide the villagers through shared reflections, focusing on the light and darkness entwined within. Soon, the community arrived, spirits buoyed by the promise of connection. Mary took a moment to observe their faces, each one etched with stories waiting to be told. In her heart, she felt the invisible thread tying them together, a weaving of souls, each longing for understanding and unity. Let us begin with the blessings we've received, Mary suggested. The room filled with eager murmurs, hearts opening like flowers kissed by the sun. As people shared their joys, healed friendships, newfound hopes, the atmosphere thickened with divine presence. It felt as if God was listening attentively, His love radiating through them all. Then, an elder, a figure of wisdom and experience, stood up. In our suffering lies our strength. Each of my trials has brought me closer to God, he said, his voice steady yet soft. Facing our shadows is where we find our light. Mary felt a weight settle in the room. His words carved a deeper understanding. It was easy to celebrate the good, but confronting the dark was an essential part of their walk with God. Would they navigate these depths together? As they delved deeper into personal stories of pain, the warm light in the sanctuary dimmed, shadows creeping in. Tears flowed freely, emotions surfacing that had long been buried. Mary sensed a shift. It was as if God was inviting them to release the burdens they had been carrying alone. The truth is, Ruth spoke gently, we fear what we do not understand. But what if confronting those fears is what leads us to liberation? Mary nodded, moved by the courage radiating from everyone gathered. Each tear, every whispered prayer, was an act of surrender, a sacred offering of their vulnerability. In this collective pain and hope, divine mysteries began to unfold. Suddenly, a gust of wind swooshed through the open windows, fluttering the pages of the Bible on the altar. A palpable energy coursed through the air. Mary watched as the villagers exchanged glances, a collective acknowledgement that they were on the precipice of something extraordinary. This is it, she thought, exhilarated yet anxious. This is the moment in which we step into our divine truths. With hearts intertwined, the community gripped the thin line between fear and freedom. Would they embrace the journey ahead? Would they discover the miraculous within the mundane? In the days that followed, the urgency for deeper exploration lingered in the air. The door to their transformation had been flung wide open as Mary left the church that evening. Her spirit buzzed with expectation. What revelations awaited them in the depths of their shared exploration? Would they uncover their hidden miracles? And how would they come to see the divine in their trials? The questions hung in the breeze, a gentle reminder. What truths would emerge now that shadows began to dance with light? What awaited them in this sacred space of uncertainty? The following morning, the sun crested the horizon in a blaze of golden light, spilling warmth over the village. Mary awoke with the echoes of last night's gathering still fresh in her heart. It felt as if the light itself had carried whispers of possibilities, urging her to press deeper into the spirit of discovery that had begun to awaken within her and the villagers as she made her way to the church. She noticed a small group of children playing near the well, laughter ringing through the air like bells chime. Their unabashed joy reminded Mary that somewhere in each heart, there remained a childlike faith eager to believe in miracles. She stopped for a moment, entranced, before hurrying inside to prepare for another gathering. Ruth was already waiting for her, her face lit with enthusiasm. I think we should ask everyone to bring something that represents their burdens, she proposed. Maybe through sharing these physical objects, they might see them differently. Mary nodded, her heart stirring. There was something powerful about putting physicality to their soul struggles, transforming what weighed them down into something tangible. They prayed over their plans, seeking guidance, trusting that the Holy Spirit would lead them as the community gathered once more. Mary could feel the tension of anticipation mingling with uncertainty. Faces wore an array of expressions: curiosity, hesitation, readiness. Mary stood at the front holding a small stone. Let this represent what we carry, she began. Today we will share not only our stories but also the physical burdens we hold. Let us examine what these represent and find the strength hidden within them. One by one, the villagers stepped forward, each bringing forth objects. A rusted key, a tattered piece of cloth, a broken watch, even a torn photo. With every item shared, silence filled the air, palpable and thick. They took turns speaking, revealing the stories tied to each burden. I brought this key, a woman began, her voice trembling slightly. It belonged to my father. It symbolizes the weight of his expectations, which I've carried for years. Another man stepped forward, holding the broken watch. This was my grandfather's. It reminds me of lost time, of moments I wish to reclaim. Mary watched as each item was placed on the altar, each representing struggles that had been hidden from view. The sanctuary was alive with emotion, each story weaving a collective tapestry. The shadows felt less daunting as burdens transformed into vessels of understanding. Suddenly, in the midst of a shared moment, Ruth spoke up, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. What if these burdens are not meant to break us, but to mold us into who we need to be? What if we can find strength in admitting our vulnerabilities? The room responded, a wave of agreement coursing through. Hope sparked, illuminating the weight of their stories. The flickering candles on the altar glowed brighter, as if affirming their words. Then a sweet silence fell, the room steeped in a stillness that felt divine. Mary sensed the movement of the Holy Spirit, like a soft breeze wrapping around each heart. It was a reminder that they were not alone. As they continued to share, light began seeping into the darker corners of their souls. Something magical was happening. They were not just exchanging burdens. They were creating a space where healing flourished. At the end of the gathering, Mary addressed her friends. Let us remember that even when the shadows come, we have each other, and with God's grace, we can turn our trials into triumphs. The villagers responded with a collective murmur, hearts encouraged and spirits uplifted. Walking home, Mary felt a fresh breeze brush against her skin, a heavenly caress. The day held promise. What would they discover about their burdens tomorrow? How might they transform pain into purpose in this sacred journey? The path ahead brimmed with divine mystery, waiting to unfold. The next day dawned with the promise of continued transformation. A gentle reminder that healing is a journey, not a destination. Mary rose early, eager to see how the threads woven the night before would continue to intertwine and strengthen the fabric of community. The sun painted the sky in soft hues of lavender and gold, reflecting the serenity she felt within. As she approached the church, she felt an odd mixture of excitement and nervousness. Would the villagers be ready to go deeper? Was their vulnerable sharing merely the beginning, or could they plunge further into understanding? She pushed open the heavy doors and was met by the familiar scent of aged wood and the soft flicker of candlelight. Ruth was there again, her demeanor light but her eyes alive with purpose. Mary, I've been thinking, Ruth started, her voice low and steady. What if we encourage everyone to write down their burdens as a prayer? Something we can look back on as a reminder of God's faithfulness through our process. Mary smiled, feeling a swell of hope. That's a beautiful idea. It can help them physically release what weighs on their hearts. They huddled together, spirits buoyed by possibility. The gathering space soon filled with villagers, all curious about today's plan. Mary felt a reassuring warmth. The altar remained adorned with the previous night's offerings, symbolic of their collective struggles now transformed into a tapestry of stories. Today, Mary began, her voice steady, we will take another step. I invite each of you to write down what you've shared, your burdens, your stories. Then we'll offer them together in prayer. In the act of releasing them to God, we can revisit this moment when we need strength. A soft murmur rippled through the congregation, and she saw glimpses of apprehension mixed with eagerness. Faces were painted with determination. The act of writing would become a profound release. As they sat with pens and paper, Mary walked around, observing their furrowed brows and focused expressions. She sensed a deep stirring. The burdens they had carried felt lighter already. The community connected in unison, silent, yet vibrant in their quest for healing. When everyone finished, they gathered in a circle, their pieces of paper cradled in hand. Mary took a deep breath, feeling the sacred weight of what lay before them. Let us pray together, she invited, and a hush fell over the group as they prayed. Voices blended harmoniously, each heartfelt whisper inviting divine intervention. The aura was electric. The flickering candles emitted a comforting glow like stars coming alive in the night sky. Mary felt warmth envelop her, and she caught a glimpse of the Holy Spirit moving among them. One by one, they stepped towards the altar and placed their papers down, bringing their burdens into the light. Each offering felt like a stone cast into a pond, rippling outward, touching unseen shores. Suddenly, a soft breeze swept through the sanctuary. A visible calm replaced earlier tension, and Mary witnessed the expanse of healing unfolding before her eyes. She could nearly hear the whispers of angels around them, affirming the promises of restoration. God will carry our burdens, Mary reminded them, her heart alight with conviction. And through this we will emerge renewed. The villagers nodded as murmurs of agreement filled the air. Hope bloomed anew, budding in each heart as they realized that empathy and vulnerability lay the foundation of their collective journey. As they departed, Mary felt that familiar brush of the fresh breeze again, bringing with it a sense of anticipation. What divine insights awaited them in the days to come? What new revelations would come from their willingness to share so deeply? The sacred path ahead was uncharted but held the promise of miracles waiting to unfold. The day unfolded with fresh vigor. Mary awoke with an eagerness that sent a tingle down her spine. She could still feel the flickers of hope igniting within her community. But now there was a call for something deeper, something more transformative. She wandered to the window and watched the sun rise, casting golden rays that caressed the slumbering village. Upon entering the church, the atmosphere felt charged with expectancy. Villagers trickled in, their eyes reflecting the glow of newfound faith. Mary embraced each one with a smile, sensing unspoken questions swirling in the air. It was as if they all stood at the edge of a vast ocean, peering into its depths while wondering what mysteries lay beneath the surface. Today, Mary announced as everyone settled, "We're not just writing our burdens. We're going to explore our hopes. What do we dream of? What do we desire from God?" Murmurs danced among the villagers, a shared understanding glimmering within their hearts. This wasn't merely an act of release anymore. This was an invitation to step into the holy unknown. The flicker of fear mingled with excitement in each eye. Just as we placed our burdens on the altar, it's time to dare to dream, Mary urged. Let us lay our hopes before God, trusting that He can breathe life into them. As they took to writing once again, the mood shifted. Pens scratched across paper with purpose, scribbling encouragement, daring visions, and whispered praises. It felt powerful, each word a prayer rising like incense, carrying their hearts to Goddess' ears. Mary walked among them, absorbing the sacred energy. She felt a swell of connection, each hope woven like golden threads into a cosmic tapestry. Then she stopped before a young boy, his brow knitted in concentration. "What are you writing, Samuel?" she asked softly. "I'm asking God to help my mom find joy again," he replied earnestly, his voice barely above a whisper. Mary's heart swelled. "That is a beautiful prayer, Samuel. God hears you. He loves your mother so dearly." The boy beamed, and Mary felt a new wave of warmth ripple through the gathering. Emotions swelled as everyone began to realize that their hopes, however personal, were interwoven with each other's lives. They formed a circle once more, their hopes clutched tightly, and Mary sensed a gentle stirring in the room. "Let us pray," she invited, her voice calm yet imbued with fervor as they prayed. A breathless unity enveloped them. Each person's prayer was a testament to the desire for healing, joy, and connection. The flickering flames of the candles seemed to dance in response, casting vibrant shadows that flickered like hearts igniting with faith. Mary could feel the energy rising, a collective spirit rising higher, lifting their voices to the heavens. Suddenly, the air thickened, a whisper of a promise drifted through the room, curling around them like a warm embrace. Mary sensed Goddess' presence, wrapped in love and expectancy, washing over them like waves from the ocean. Tears streamed down cheeks, hearts were laid bare, and a deep realization sank in. They were not alone in their journey. After the prayers diminished, Mary felt a divine pull. "Now, let us take our hopes to the altar," she encouraged, her voice trembling with emotion. They moved in unison, a cascade of light and longing, placing their dreams beside their burdens, recognizing the merging of both struggles and aspirations. As they stepped back, an inexplicable peace settled over them. The gentle breeze returned, carrying with it a whisper of promise, a message that their united journey was only just beginning. Mary took a moment, eyes scanning the sea of faces tinged with wonder and hope. If only they realized what was yet to come, a revelation far deeper than what they had known. What unfathomable blessings awaited them as they leaned into faith anew. What miraculous turning points were poised to transform their community even further. The path ahead shimmered, revealing only glimmers of divine light, leaving hearts racing in anticipation of what truly lay ahead. The following morning, Mary awoke with a deep sense of anticipation. The sun stretched across the horizon, hinting at the extraordinary moments that awaited her and her village. With each step she took, A whisper echoed in her heart, urging her to trust the divine purpose that was beginning to unfurl. Gathering within the church once again, the villagers' energy crackled with a mix of expectations and devotion. They filled the wooden pews, eyes sparkling with hope and curiosity. Mary could almost taste the fervor in the air, thick and sweet, like honey. Today, she felt, would be a day of revelations. "Let us begin with a reminder," she said, her voice steady yet soft. "Faith is more than just hope. It's about facing the unknown with courage. Let us embrace the mysterious path God has laid before us." A murmur of agreement swept through the room. Each villager felt an unspoken need to delve deeper into their understanding of themselves and their connection to God. Today was not just about venturing into their hopes. It was time to confront their fears. Mary invited them to take a moment of silence. The hush that followed was profound. Each heartbeat felt like a prayer, each breath an offering. In that sacred stillness, something shifted. A collective yearning unfolded. She could feel it in her bones. The transformation would go beyond words. Then, she prompted them again. "Now write down your fears. Let us bring them forth, just as we have with our hopes." There was an initial hesitation, but as the pens glided across paper, the room was filled with scratching sounds that conveyed vulnerability. Fears of loss, rejection, and inadequacy seeped onto those sheets, laid bare for God to see. Mary felt the weight of each heart being lifted. She walked among them, leaning closer to read the lines, each sentence echoing within her own soul. A woman whispering of fear for her child as safety here. A man grappling with his worthiness. These fears were threads in the great tapestry of their community, binding them together in a shared struggle. Let us take these fears, recognizing that we are not alone, Mary encouraged, gathering the courage to lead them in prayer once more. Together, we will leave behind what burdens us and allow God to transform our trepidation into faith. With each word, the power of unity surged. Mary felt a mighty wind sweep through, brushing against the faces of her people as they prayed fervently, their voices intertwined. Hope and fear, seemingly opposite, danced together in that moment. Abruptly, the candles flickered, and a luminous presence filled the space. Mary raised her gaze, eyes wide in awe, as a gentle light enveloped the gathering. Whispers wrapped around the congregation like an embrace of warmth and clarity. It was an assurance that even the deepest fears could be transformed into something beautiful, as long as they laid them down willingly. Suddenly, the young boy Samuel spoke up, his voice rising above the others. "God is going to turn our fears into strength, right?" His innocent question resonated, causing Mary to realize the weight of faith rests not only on understanding but the purity of untainted hearts. "Yes, Samuel," she replied, her heart swelling. "With God, all things are possible. They may seem like burdens now, but God uses them to create something magnificent within us." As they knelt to surrender their fears at the altar, Mary closed her eyes, surrendering her own worries alongside them. The room felt electric, alive with the promise of divine transformation. With one final prayer, she looked out over her beloved community, sensing a stirring that brought tears of joy to her eyes. Today was merely a stepping stone, a rebuilding of faith that would shape their next steps. What awaited them next was anyone's guess. But they could all feel it. This was a turning point, and the possibilities were endless. As they emerged into the warm sunlight, a question hung in the air, ripe with potential. How would God reveal the purpose hidden in their fears? The sun bathed St. Alden's in a warm, divine glow as the villagers gathered for what would be an unforgettable evening. Mary sensed it in her bones. The air crackled with an energy that promised revelations. They had journeyed through burdens, hopes, and fears. Now it was time to explore faith, the very heart of their existence. As they filled the church, Mary stood before her beloved community, excitement bubbling in her chest. She looked into the faces before her, the brave souls who had shared so much of their hearts. Today, they would dive deeper into what it meant to truly trust in God's goodness. "Tonight," she began, her voice steady, "we're going to seek understanding about our faith in a world filled with uncertainties. It's time to ask ourselves, what does faith mean for us, truly? An anticipatory silence enveloped the room. Mary felt the weight of every gaze on her, urging her to guide them further into the divine. Let us reflect on moments when we felt God's presence vividly. When did he break through the clouds of doubt? Scattered murmurs floated through the congregation as memories began to surface. One by one, villagers shared their stories. Old Mr. Thompson spoke of a time when he found solace in prayer during his darkest hours. Ruth recalled the quiet whisper of encouragement she felt while comforting a friend. Mary felt each testimony deepen the unity among them. It was as if each story added threads of light into a tapestry of shared faith. With every revelation shared, worn hearts healed just a bit more, and they began to understand the profound nature of their collective journey. Then young Samuel stood, a glimmer of innocence in his eyes. I remember when my mommy cried, and I prayed. Then I saw her smile again. That was God, right? His innocent insight brought forth a chorus of amens that swelled in the sanctuary. Yes, Samuel, Mary exclaimed, her voice playful yet sincere. Faith, like a seed, grows in trust. Your prayer mattered. God is listening. He shows us his love in the simplest of moments. As the evening wore on, a sacred atmosphere enveloped them. They began to recognize that faith was not the absence of doubt, but the commitment to trust despite it. Each villager deepened their understanding of how intertwined their lives had become within God's plan. They were pillars for one another, reflections of faith living boldly amid uncertainty. With hearts ignited, Mary led them in a final prayer. Tonight, let us lay down anything that still weighs heavy on our souls. Each worry, each fear, let us trust God to take them. We stand together in faith, united by his love. As they placed their collective burdens of the past and present at the altar, a palpable shift happened in the room. A soft breeze blew in from the windows, dancing around them, as if angels were celebrating their release. With tears rolling down her cheeks, Mary looked at the faces lit by understanding. They were no longer just individuals in a village, they had become a family, bound by their shared tales of vulnerability and divine grace. Tomorrow, she said, her voice heavy with emotion, let us reflect on how we can live out this faith in our daily lives. Let us be the light in someone else's darkness. Who needs a miracle? We are those miracles. It was as if they all heard the call echo through their hearts. The murmurs of encouragement and hope swirled together, binding their spirits. They knew in that moment they were carriers of God's love vessels ready to journey outward. As they departed from the church that night, Mary felt the warmth of divine purpose wrapping around her like a blanket. They had unveiled more than just a community of faith. They had ignited a movement, and the village of St. Alden was forever changed. After that evening, hope felt tangible, a force that would ripple out into the world, bringing light and warmth to the most shadowed corners. This was not just the end. It was the beginning of something beautiful. A journey where miracles awaited just beyond the horizon for believers who dared to trust that God's grip on their lives was more profound than any fears or doubts could unravel. Now, it's your turn. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories that will continue to inspire and uplift. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, helping us share God's light further. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this ending. Let your voice be heard. And don't wait even one more second to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this divine manifestation in their lives. Only true servants of God understand the importance of supporting our mission. You are part of this journey.